Hospitality shown to God's ministers and the poor is a sure source of God's blessing. The first reading and the second part of the gospel of today invite us to reflect about our attitude toward those who devote their lives to the proclamation of God's salvation and towards one another. The message is clear. There is always reward given to anyone who shows hospitality to God's ministers and the little ones, like the poor. Today's gospel message of hospitality concerns those who will receive the apostles on their missionary journey. This is about the special need for hospitality as a godly and Christian virtue. And this is not only for the one who is giving. It is mutual, because there is no one who has it all. And so when it comes to hospitality, it is about both the host and the guest, or if you like, both the giver and the receiver. Both of them are called to hospitality. For instance, if we look at the first reading, we will discover that even though the couple were people of affluence, they were wealthy, but the relationship between them and Elisha and the servant made the servant to observe that the woman had no son. And it meant that it is not only the woman showing hospitality, but also receiving hospitality. Jesus says in the gospel, "Whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. Whoever receives a prophet because he is a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And whoever receives a righteous man because he is a righteous man will receive a righteous man's reward." When we think about hospitality, I know that it is a fact that there is no one who wants to take up a liability. There is no one at the same time who will just want to be on the giving end alone. And so it is a give and take, one that opens us up to each other and to the community that we live in. Perhaps this is a way we spell out how we follow Jesus in our everyday life. And Jesus is so sure that there is a reward for goodness and kindness shown to others. Our first reading today from the second book of Kings illustrates the way of hospitality. It is a story of a couple who recognized Elisha, the prophet, as a holy man of God. They put aside a room where he is always welcome when he passes through. This is really exemplifying Jesus' words: "Whoever welcomes a prophet will receive a prophet's reward." And in this story, the couple are rewarded with the promise that they will have a child within the coming year. This is the type of hospitality, from my own experience, that I see within our parish, and in fact within the collaborative communities of the Holy Rood. A willingness to connect, to relate, and accept one another for the sake of our common faith in Jesus Christ. By virtue of our baptism in Christ Jesus, as St. Paul makes us understand in the second reading, we all are invited to walk in newness of life through our generosity, goodness, and kindness to one another. It is not only when we are wealthy people that we can give. Hospitality has a long history of being very important even among poorer people, who, even though they have little, are always willing to share with those who are in need. It may be inconvenient or difficult, and may indeed be a way to take up one's cross and follow Jesus. To give to another person in need, as is even clearer in Matthew's Gospel chapter 25, is to give to Jesus in need. Because Jesus tells us in that chapter, whenever you give to the least of my brothers and sisters, you do to me. We are apostles for Christ, spreading the gospel when we give to each other.